You know, as a common trend in this Halloween special is that we usually really diss the remakes.
Yes, the Friday the 13th, the Nightmare, the Halloween remakes, we all didn't like them.
Yeah, it's some unpopular trends, but I mean...
Yes, but I think we've finally come to one which is worth mentioning.
It's Hills Have Eyes. It's Hills Have Eyes. Hills Have Eyes. Called it. So the original is from the maker Wes Craven,
Yep.
Who also made the Nightmare on Elm Street, which was great.
He's a
But
horror icon. Everyone who likes horror knows his name.
yeah, obviously, him and John Carpenter are like two of the biggest names. Hills Have Eyes is unfortunately not the greatest piece of work of his.
Yeah, as we said in the prior video, he has some gold and he has some shit.
Yes.
His Hills Have Eyes is shit.
Yeah, no, it's not very good. It goes halfway, but it doesn't deliver as a full movie.
I gotta give it props though, because they came up with the idea for the film.
Oh yes, it was definitely a great idea. Great idea.
Great synopsis of the film. You know, family, they're on vacation,
Yeah.
go into the desert, get raped by mutants.
Yeah, no, yeah, I did like the mutant idea because mutants were just so like original. Like otherwise, it was just like kind of like paranormal or just like crazy like people, and they don't really like put into detail like why these people are so hard to kill or something like that. And in like Hills Have Eyes, well, they're all mutants, so we don't really know what's happened to their anatomy. And two, there are heaps of them. So you don't just have like one killer on the loose in this slasher kind of film. It's multiple people.
There's this family of mutants.
Yeah. And
like the dad and the girl and whatnot.
I do really like that because it kind of like separates from the whole like the lone killer coming after all the other victims, and it's like no, it's like more people coming after other people.
Yeah. So where does this film, the original, fall flat?
The ending, I think.
I think we both agree. The ending. Spoiler alert.
Don't even. It's so abrupt.
It's so abrupt that he kills last mutant. The end.
What? We were both.
What about the brother and sister?
Yeah, no,
what about the baby?
Yeah.
What about?
It didn't make any sense. They just they were just like, okay, you like this? Boom, then, done.
Run out of money, sorry.
Yeah, I wonder if that was the case.
Maybe it was...
I mean, like, horror
maybe Wes Craven had a deadline. It's like, Craven, you have to make a movie that's like 125 minutes. If it's longer than that, I don't know, you're fine.
Oh, well, I mean, like, even if it was just a budget thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like, they just ran out of time. They could have
taken something out of the middle, I don't know.
Yeah, no, it was so strange that they would end a movie like this because in filmmaking, they're pretty much taught the most important thing about the films is the start and the end. Well, and when you're writing it.
If not, the end is more important.
Yeah,
really.
yeah. Well, the start and the end is usually the most important when writing a movie, and then you fill in the gaps with filler, and you try and base it around the start.
And the middle, that's where you can fuck around and do whatever you want.
Yeah, exactly. So I mean, the start
was strong. It's strong, kinda.
Yeah, and then the middle got kind of
it sets it up. It sets it up into the second act. The mutants attack family.
Yeah.
Whatnot, and then it gets the third act, which is I don't know if you want to even call it a third act. I mean, because it ends so abruptly.
Yeah, no, you feel so like cheated out of it.
The thing is, a third act is the recovery of the story.
Yeah.
It's the triumph, and it didn't show it.
Is that like a thing that he was trying to display? It's like, oh, we shouldn't feel anything because we had to go through so much, we lost so much to even get to this far. But even though, like, it's a horror movie and it's like, you're not doing this right.
He could have at least killed the mutant and then stood up and, like, picked the baby up and then it could have ended.
Yeah.
But no, we don't get that.
It was just like Nicolas Cage, like on his face. He looks a lot like Nicolas Cage.
Really?
Take a look at it. Yeah. And it's just him just wailing on this guy with a knife, and then it's just done, red, the end.
So what'd you give it, the original?
I would have given it a moderately high score.
Yeah.
That ending, though, just spoiled it so hard.
Oh, man.
I think I'm giving this one a 3. Oh, what about you? What about you?
Yeah, like the story and the build up it's really good.
Yeah.
For its time, it's like crazy original idea. The ending, man, you can't fuck the ending up. It's the crucial part. I'm gonna give it a 4.5 out of 10.
Understandable.
Yeah.
Alright. But this is where Hills Have Eyes actually come into its ultimate climax.
Ultimate form.
This is the remake.
Yep.
And
okay. So it only took like 20-something years to re-envision the Hills Have Eyes, and goddamn did we get a fucking masterpiece.
We got a very good one.
Yeah.
I just love it how they added more stuff in and like more depth.
Oh, it's like you could almost say that like a lot of shots are nearly similar to the original.
Yeah, I do think that most of the lines were
yeah,
just like a nostalgic.
But like this thing adds so much more character development, more character growth.
Oh, definitely.
But it still sticks to the fundamentals of the original film. And we don't have some stupid abrupt ending.
Yeah. I did find like one thing that was different. All the characters in the original, when they were put up to a challenge, they didn't argue. They just like, okay, we'll put our chips like onto the table, see what we can do. In the remake, they're a little more whiny.
I think, but that is more realistic.
I do think that.
Yeah.
But I mean, like, I did kind of find it like
because it was like the dad was the big cop, he was the big protector of the family.
Yeah.
And they just saw him burnt on a fucking tree.
Yeah.
So they're like, fuck, what do we do now?
Yeah.
But you know, they're like, they whined a bit.
Yeah.
They finally manned up and
Yeah, no. I also really liked the multiple scenes that they put in, but one of them was really that stood out for me was the bit where the boyfriend goes and finds all the stuff.
He goes into the nuclear craters where they tested all the nuclear bombs.
Yes.
And he finds all these abandoned cars and whatnot with all this people's stuff in them.
Yeah, because when I first saw it, like the original, I thought it was like...
That's not in the original too.
Yeah, exactly. And
they add more.
Yeah, so I mean, like, and all he said was, oh, I found like all this really cool stuff, and then it was like, oh, okay, but I thought it was the mutants like storehouse where they kept all their stuff.
Yeah.
It wasn't that. It was actually something much more disturbing, and I thought that was brilliant.
Yeah.
How you're just like, oh my god, these are all the things that the people were here, they dumped here,
that the mutants
all the people are
killed.
eaten. And
what's even better, it's that you're in the crater with the guy, and then it pans out
to more craters.
And
it was just like, what? So it's like, how long have they been doing this? It was such a good scene.
Oh.
I thought that was one of the most beautifully made scenes in that movie. What about you? What stuck out most?
Well, the thing is, I seen this film before I saw the original.
Yeah.
And I went a long time without seeing the original. And I always felt that, like, because I always liked the movie. And I was like, maybe if I watch the original, I might taint the remake for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm like, finally watched it, I'm like, It was going good.
Yeah.
And and this just puts the remake way ahead of it, even more.
Definitely.
But I think like, you know, it's made in the modern times. They added the modern things to it.
Yeah.
It didn't fuck up the story though.
Yeah, there we go.
If not, it made it better.
Yeah. That's what it's great about it. Like,
also one thing I love about this was the sick black humor.
With the mutants?
Throughout the entire thing, like, just for example, like, at the start, they're at the gas station, and the big Bob's like, hey, do you know it's illegal to smoke around a gas up? And the guy's like, yeah, I do.
Yeah. I mean, I don't really find that moment.
And then when the mutants first attack, and then, the guy is like trashing the place, and he sees the baby, and the baby touches him, and he's like, I like that stuff.
I really liked that bit. Yeah.
And he's like, you know, like the
no,
still got a bit of humanity left.
Yeah, I mean, like I did kind of like that.
And one thing I think some people probably might not like this, but like the original went into more depth with the mutants. They actually showed. They showed where they live in the remake, probably even more than the original. But they showed them, and they showed them interacting with each other. Like, don't you like eating dog anymore and stuff like that. But in this one, actually, like, it was more about the family than the mutants. And that's why I think is one of the biggest, better things about the remake.
I definitely agree. Like, I think you can't.
Okay, like in the original, you can't root for both sides.
Yeah, exactly.
That's to be one side you have to root for.
Exactly, but in the original, they made sure that you had nothing to hold against the regular family.
Yeah.
Because there was no whining, there was no stuff like that to hold you back. And so you were like, oh yeah, kill these guys.
Yeah.
And I think I know where they were coming from, where it's like, okay, what if we put like characterization in both things, so you feel more remorse. So when each person
I think
dies.
also one of the biggest factors for the original, like what you were saying, was that it was the 70s and it was a different time.
Yeah.
And like nowadays, more people are more whiny.
Yeah.
You gotta give it that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like back in the 70s, you would have been, get up or get out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All that said and done, what would you give this?
Well, I'm not gonna give it a 10, okay? Because what?
I mean, considering the challenge that it had ahead of itself, remaking like something like that could have gone extraordinarily wrong.
It could have gone extraordinarily wrong, but thank God it went extraordinarily right.
Yes.
So I'm gonna give it a 9.5.
Alright.
Quite high, you might say, but fuck you. I love the movie.
I do agree. I mean,
it is definitely one of my favorite horror movies.
I do agree with that.
Yeah.
And one thing that I really liked about it is that there's no gratuitous sex scenes. There's like a little bit, but I mean, you don't really see anything.
You don't see anything. It's just, you know what's happening.
Yeah, you know what's happening.
You don't see anything.
And it's just like, oh yeah, okay,
it
whatever.
It just makes you hate the mutants even more.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And and so I definitely really enjoyed it. I think it's great for Halloween.
Yeah.
And I'm giving this an 8.5.
Okay.
So I do rate this pretty high as well.
I think that's our highest rated Halloween. Oh no, what do we? Yeah. So, yeah.
No. I think we
for a remake anyway.
For a remake.
For a remake, yeah.
Yes, definitely. But that looks like it's it for our Halloween special. Sorry we couldn't do Carrie, but as we said, we had stuff.
Australia. Stay classy, nuclear crater people.